Right then, this is a walk around video for a truly exceptional car. This is a real rarity and one that could form part of some modern classic collection in my opinion. This is a Honda Accord 2.4 EX manual, which is rare enough, but this car's had just one owner from new, benefits from a full Honda service history and has just 34,000 miles on the clock, 11 services conducted during that period, and in extraordinary condition. Go around the car for you. As you can see there, silver, the full black leather interior. Come around the front, the lights and lenses are completely clear and intact. So a real freshness to the whole of the car. It looks absolutely stunning. Bumper very, very clean indeed. Likewise, bonnet, possibly a microscopic stone chip somewhere, but you have to look very hard indeed. Near side, absolutely blemish free in the panels, can't see anything obvious in there at all. Near side front alloy, completely unmarked. The panel work, as I said, it is absolutely amazing. Near side rear alloy, again, blemish free. Coming around the back, again, bumper corners lovely and clean. Likewise, bumper itself hardly exhibits a mark anywhere. Offside, driver's side, I mean, it's simply amazing. Offside rear alloy, again in perfect condition. Remaining panel work, as with all of the rest of it. I mean, it is a car that if you get a microscope out, you're going to find something somewhere, but you're going to have to look ridiculously hard to find anything, because that's possibly the best Accord anywhere in the marketplace. Coming to the boot area, absolutely huge boots, and again, immaculate back here really. It's coming inside the car now, come to the back first, full black leather interior, and the interior, as with the exterior of the car, is a sight to behold. I mean, it really is in extraordinary condition for a car that's now, what's that, 12 years old? Coming to the front and passenger side, again, wonderfully clean. Passenger seat on the front, again, it just looks as though it's hardly ever been sat on. It's coming at the front of the driver's side, door card looks pretty much as new. Footwell there is again lovely and clean. The driver's seat itself, again, just in amazing condition. So inside the car now, and again, to continue the theme, just extraordinary in here. Dashboard is in wonderful condition. Sat nav, you can see they're working perfectly. Pop the car into reverse. Lovely clear rear parking camera, all working exactly as it should. But it is simply exceptional. And if I'm being ridiculously fussy, but slight discoloration there. I mean, that is it. That's all I can see, and I'm trying to pick up on anything I possibly can. Dashboard, as you can see there, 34,605 miles. Only warning light showing is for low fuel, by the way. There's no warning lights on the car at all. As I say in the advert, we're not in any way trying to make this the cheapest car out there. It won't be, not with this ownership, history and condition and mileage. It's a rare combination indeed. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and one I have really been looking forward to doing. This is for a Honda Accord 2.4 EX manual, which is rare enough. Registered LR59YAE. This car's covered just 34,557 miles. The reason we do these videos, by the way, and all of them if we can, is to ensure that if anyone's looking online, they get to see the car we're advertising actually in operation. This one is a bit of an indulgence in all honesty, because if you don't want to hear the rest of it, I can cut it very short indeed by saying it drives absolutely perfectly. Beyond that, I mean, this is, you know, one of those real one-offs. It would happily go into a collection. You know, it's such a low mileage, which is sought after. One private owner, full Honda service history all the way through. I think there's 11 service stamps, and all done by the same Honda main dealer. I mean, it's all the boxes ticked for the collector and also the, you know, person who wants to own and run and use this amazing car. But to go through the usual things I always do, engine obviously starts instantly, it settles to an absolutely smooth, even idle, no warning lights on, temperature gauge running at third, which is exactly where it's meant to be. The engine is just, I mean, it is one of the best four-cylinder engines ever produced. I rate this as probably top 3 virtually of all Honda engines ever made, not because, you know, it's got that screaming power delivery of the Type R's, but almost the opposite. It's basically it's got more low down grunt than you'd give it credit for, because most VTECs you expect to do all the work high up, but you put your foot down on this one and it's pulling immediately. But what impresses most is just the kind of the sophistication of the mechanicals coming from the engine. It's so smooth, it's ridiculous. On top of which, you know, it's got a reputation for being incredibly long lasting and reliable. You know, we've never put a spanner on one ever. It's a marvel of engineering, it really is, but it's a beautiful engine to use day in, day out, because it's flexible enough to get up in a nice high gear, nice and early, put your foot down at any revs and you won't get any coughing or spluttering. But when you do put your foot down, you get this kind of surge power, and then it goes again. It's just got a wonderful power delivery, and the smoothness of the engine, its rotational smoothness, is more akin to something like a 6-cylinder engine. You know, it sounds more like a 4-cylinder. It's got that, you know, typical 4-cylinder kind of thrum to it. But when you put your foot down, you don't feel any sort of tingling through your feet, through the steering wheel of the car. It's, as I said, absolutely astonishing engine. Engine feeds through into clutch and gearbox as you'd expect. Clutch of the car absolutely spot on with this mileage, and the gearbox again is just one of, you know, their best. It's short in throw. It's got a wonderfully precise mechanical action to it. It just feels beautifully engineered. It feels, and it isn't, of course, because it's got cable going to the gearbox. It feels like it's going directly into a gearbox underneath. So precise are the actions, the throw, the gating, the synchromesh as it engages. You know, I'm just doing it for fun, but it really is a wonderful gear change and feels absolutely as new. As I say in the advert, the unsung part of this car almost, and to me criminally so, is the steering and the chassis. Absolutely brilliant. The steering's weighting is perfect. It makes the car feel solid, secure on the road. Going through a corner like this one, just a little bit quicker than I would do ordinarily. Turn in, minimal movement, beautiful weighting, scalpel sharp in terms of the precision and accuracy that it affords you, and it works perfectly with the chassis of the car, because that's not always the case. Sometimes you have over quick steering and a slightly loose chassis, and it can be quite nervous, or you can have a ponderous steering which just can't keep up. This hits the sweet spot, and the quicker you go, the more you lean on the car, the more response you get from it, the more it makes sense. Those horrible, unnerving off-camber bumps on high-speed corners, this car just demolishes them, and the steering gives you that security to allow you to sort of push on if you so wish. And then the chassis itself, of course. Oh, by the way, steering tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at all through the steering wheel at the speed or any speed up the legal limit. Oh, that engine. That's just fantastic. But the chassis, again, this is a horrible piece of road. This is kind of a sports saloon, if you want to call it that. So the ride is firmer but the damping is genius, because yeah, you feel it hitting the bumps and you're moved by them, but what you're not getting is any kind of crashing note. There's no lack of sophistication, quite the opposite. It is incredibly sophisticated, but when it comes to the corners, it's, as I said, it's pure genius. Because I mean, I was really lucky at Honda. I got to take this on a track, or one of these on a track day, to show it against other competitors' cars, you know, and good competitors' cars. They didn't just sort of pick the ones that you could easily beat. There's some pretty good stuff out there, and this, just on the track in particular, where it shows up deficiencies of, you know, so-called sports cars. And I always maintained, and I've said it on previous videos, the only car that I got in and I thought drove probably as well as this in terms of the chassis was the Mondeo ST24, which had a wonderful chassis design, brilliant. The only problem with that chassis design is it was more fragile in terms of the mechanicals over the long term, whereas these are much, much, much tougher in pretty much every single way. You know, the build of everything, but you know, in terms of chassis design, yeah, I couldn't really fault either of them. But it's a car that you may even get in and think, oh, I don't know, you know, what on earth is he on about? It just drives like a nice normal car. The more you drive them, the more you get into them, the more you realise just how accomplished they are, even by the very, very latest modern standards. It's a wonderful, wonderful vehicle. Worth pointing out, there's no kind of nasty noises from the suspensions, no clunks or rattles at all. It's all absolutely solid, and the car will be going in for a independent MOT as part of the preparation of the vehicle. Brakes on the car are fantastic, by the way. I'm not going to shove them to but basically touch them. They're powerful. There's no vibrations, no pulsing through the brake pedal at all. Then coming inside, it's kind of like a time warp in here. It is absolutely stunning in here in terms of its condition, but also I'm getting into a 12-year-old car now that doesn't feel old. You don't get into it and feel like you're in an old car. You know, it's not, you know, hasn't got those stupid tablet things up on the dashboard, which I absolutely despise in modern cars, because I think they're going to age horribly quickly. What it's got is a beautifully built interior, absolutely stunningly well made. Big screen sat nav, tucked away, recessed so the light doesn't go onto it, unlike the tablets where just any bit of light you can't see the damn things. All working perfectly. A dual zone climate control system which gives you different temperatures side to side. Again, all working absolutely spot on. It's absolutely ice cold. Heated seats working perfectly. What it doesn't show is every button you press has a quality of actuation which is so well manufactured. It's really nerdy stuff. I love it though. Just touch it. This is expensive to manufacture. Honda do these things brilliantly well. Dash in front is your classic, and I mean classic Honda design. Massive rev counter and speedo flanked either side by temperature and fuel gauges in the old-fashioned way. And what a beautiful thing to behold. When you compare it to the modern dash design, and I include Honda in that, by the way, which can be over fussy and hard to take the information in. That, you just look, you get the information, and you look back at the road instead of looking at it thinking, you know, what on earth am I looking at? Steering wheel, thick rimmed, leather bound, feels absolutely fantastic. You know, I'm the first to admit you'll have to take with a pinch of salt pretty much everything I've said, only in the sense that it's my opinion, not the mechanical stuff. That's fact. You know, things I've checked, they work perfectly. Those are taken as read. Things I like about the car, they're personal to me, but fortunately there's loads of people who appreciate the car for the same reasons. That's quite a big tractor. He would have won that argument. But I love them. I love these cars. I've owned numerous of them over the years. I wish I didn't have a car now so I could purchase this car, but I have one so I can't. This is unapologetically expensive. We make no apologies for that at all. As I said, the reason is it probably, if someone stores it somewhere away for 20 years, they'll recoup their money threefold. You know, it's one of those perfect classic cars or modern classics. It's not your out and out Type R, that kind of thing, but there's still demand for this type of vehicle with, as I said, all the history and ownership and mileage and condition attached. Every single box, as I said, is ticked with the car, and that's if someone wants to do that. Personally, I would love for someone to buy it and use the car, because that's what it's designed for, and that's where the enjoyment from the car comes. I can find absolutely no fault with the vehicle at all. It drives exactly the same as the ones I did when we used to sell them brand new. I'd say it's simply amazing car.